He wanted to serve his constituents. That was always his goal, to do a good job for all of us, and he did that very, very well. So today we wanted to recognize him with a special gift, actually two special gifts. One, the campaign began at the home of the owner of the Crossings Vineyard, his campaign many years ago. So we thought it was very fitting to provide him some adult beverages from the Crossing Vineyard to recognize that.
Yeah!
We can help you make
it. You know, when someone serves in office for 15 years, they're away from home quite a lot. How many years did you figure out you were away?
2.5 years just for
session
session
nights. Away for 2.5 years. So you're away a lot. And Drew and his wife, his son Drew and Ellen, they gave up a lot for his ability to serve us. So I thought it'd be really nice to get them a gift certificate to a local restaurant so he comes back to Richboro. And what better place than the one right next to his legislative office. So we got you a wonderful gift certificate to go out to dinner and take some friends along with you. So congratulations to you.
Yeah.
While I know Scott and Ellen aren't going anywhere, they'll certainly continue to be involved. I did want to give Scott an opportunity just to speak for a few minutes and to say how much he's appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. You know, when we decided to do this, what was it, 16 years ago and run, it was a family decision, and I remember Ellen and I talking about it, and every step of the way I've had the support of my family, and that is so key, as any candidate knows. I know for Drew it's probably a little difficult because he was a very young man, and he had to share his dad with all of you. So Drew, thank you. Talk a little bit today about a candidate and what a candidate goes through. Many of you know what it's like to knock on doors, you know what it's like to go through things, and of course the higher office you seek, the worse it is. If you're trying to go statewide, you can figure the typical candidate will put 50,000 to 60,000 miles on their car. During this process, I have to tell you, you've been warm, you've been inviting, you've treated us like family, and we've really developed as a family a lot of great friendships of people in this room. And I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for all the doors you knocked on, all the people you told to vote for me, that the confidence you instilled in me. Reflecting just a moment about my service, you know, when you go to Harrisburg or you go and you vote on bills of life, you put your name on them, those are proud moments, obviously, especially if they get to the end line. I was fortunate enough to find a passion with regard to children, and there are a number of bills that I was able to get done regarding improving protection of children from child abuse. I never campaigned on the issue, but it became a passionate issue for me. We're working on a child ombudsman that hopefully will still get done, pension forfeiture, adoption modernization. Those are the areas that I'm proud of. But I got to tell you, in the end, the thing I remember the most are your neighbors who you sent to my office to receive help. It might have been something simple, it might have been something quick, but those are the people I remember. Those are the circumstances you allowed me to help our neighbors with something that meant a lot to them. And that's why you get reelected, and that's what sticks in your heart when you're done. You know, I practiced law for 30 years, made a lot of people a lot of money, but there wasn't much satisfaction in that in the end. This job, 15 years, 1 month and 1 day, if anyone was counting. Every day, I walked home feeling that there was something to be proud about. Did I get everything I wanted done? Absolutely not. I could have probably gone another 15 years and still not gotten everything done. But when I got to the end, I started thinking about, you know what? It's time for someone else to take the mantle to run, to develop ideals. So let me talk about being a candidate. You, committee people, selected someone to replace me. And I agree with your selection wholeheartedly. And I've endorsed that candidate. You've endorsed that candidate. That candidate, Wendy Thomas, has done everything we asked her to do and more. And when you endorsed her, and when I endorsed her, we made a pledge. It's a bond that we made and a promise. She's fulfilled her end. We now need to finish our duties and fulfill our end. That means you must talk to your neighbors and friends. This is a crucial race. Everyone in the state is watching this race. Believe me. We need to finish this for her. I do not want the other individual to be my representative. I don't tolerate bigotry. I don't tolerate hatred. That should not be something we allow to be part of our elected representative process. She's a bright individual, talented, she's a uniter, she's compassionate, and she's my friend. So please, please, at church, talk to your neighbors. Let them know that what they read about what this other candidate says, about 50% of the people probably in this room, is not true, is not right and should not be tolerated among. You cannot represent someone if you don't have compassion and you are willing to fight even when you don't succeed. And thirdly, if you don't have love in your heart for anyone, you cannot represent people. Wendy, you've done a remarkable job. You deserve to win on your own rights. I will keep it. Thank you for the ability to serve you. I will be active. Now the great thing is I get to be passionate and vocal about the things I care about, and you will hear me often, and I'll be involved. So, thank you again for your friendship.
Who sacrificed a lot personally while Scott served. Ellen and Drew, why don't you stand? Yeah. We're going to check the tickets, and then we're going to start the rally. So, folks who are handling the baskets, please work with me. First of all,
folks that are listening and who care. And I have the distinct privilege to introduce someone to you who's a neighbor. He's from Montgomery County. He's a businessman. He's a committee man like many of you. And he's also our candidate for Lieutenant Governor. Please give a warm Bucks County, Northampton welcome to Bartos.
Breakfast of the day. And we did 7 events up in the Northwest yesterday, got off the stage in Erie at 8:30 last night. It is so good to be home. As the chair said, Pat, thank you so much. Pat has been there every step of the way, and I want to thank Joe Cullen as well, the vice chair, the Bucks County GOP. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do. I'm a fellow committeeman. I'll be on the ballot on Tuesday for Lieutenant Governor, and I guess that's kind of fancy, but I'll be on the ballot as well for committeeman for the 8th time probably at this point. I better win that committee spot because I'm still going to be a committeeman when I'm elected your next Lieutenant Governor. So how proud I am to carry the Southeast banner throughout our great Commonwealth. This has been an unbelievable experience. You all know how hard it is to get people out to vote. You work the polls every day, and I'm right there with you. But I have to tell you, what I've observed over the last couple of weeks, the enthusiasm in our party for our values and for our candidates and our message is off the charts. There's not going to be any sort of Democrat wave in November, and we know this because our friends who share our values, whether they have a D after their name or an I after their name as Democrats or Independents, they share our common sense, conservative, working class, working people values. And when they see their party, as they have this week, beating up on the nominee for the CIA because, God forbid, she may have used some enhanced interrogation techniques with terrorists, the Democrat, the far left wing of that party, is more concerned with the health and well-being and maybe the self-esteem of the terrorists, think about that, than they are with keeping us safe. And our friends around the state know that, they see that, and so the enthusiasm for our candidates is only going to grow. We're seeing it on the ground right now. We're going to see it at the polls on Tuesday. Scott Wagner and I are so honored to have the endorsement of our great Pennsylvania GOP. We really appreciate it. And before I introduce Val, there's just two other folks in Bucks County I want to say hello to and give them a special shout out, because they believed in me as a candidate when I just had this crazy idea that I wanted to take on some entrenched Democrats that I thought were not getting the job done. And Ted and Michelle Christian believed in me pretty much before anybody else. And they introduced me to so many people. I just want to thank them for all their hard work. The next governor, but I'm not going to do that this morning. Scott and I really enjoyed doing that. But I get an equal pleasure of introducing my good friend and our statewide GOP chair, Val DiGiorgio. Val has been, hold your applause because I'm going to say some nice things about him. Val has been a tireless worker. And he's going to talk about Scott's work ethic, which is off the charts. But Val has been everywhere. Since becoming chair last year, he has traveled this Commonwealth. He's been to the most rural counties and the most populated counties. He has taken an interest in growing our party at the grassroots, and he's taken a keen interest in growing our party in areas that we've just not taken the time to get to know before. He's growing our party, he's growing our enthusiasm, and I'm going to say this, and it's sincere as could be, I wouldn't be standing here, I would not be your endorsed candidate for Lieutenant Governor if it wasn't for the guidance support of Val DiGiorgio. So now a warm welcome to our chair.
Petri+Jeff for standing on behalf of our party in what's going to be a tough fight this year, a fight we can win. I got to say a little bit about Pat Popper. And if we had 67 Pat Poppers in Pennsylvania or 67 counties, we would win everything all the time. You've got the hardest working county chair in the state. So thank you, Pat. Almost every day, or advice, or just event, and I want to thank you, Pat, for always being there for me. And Dave Breidinger is here, the great leader, and David, thank you for being here. And thank you, the Bucks County GOP. We rely on you statewide for our statewide numbers. We rely on you to send good state senators and state reps to Harrisburg. And for those of you who are committee people here, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. That's how I started. As a committee man in South Philadelphia. Should have gotten hazard pay for that. But young Republican, then committee man. Started with Jim Cawley on our first campaigns back in the 80s and never looked back. And I know what it's like to stand at a poll for 13 hours, give out the literature, and I want to thank you for doing that on behalf of our party. It really means it's the difference between winning and losing for us. And we've got some great endorsed candidates this year. And one of those, as you know, is Lou Barletta, who's running for state senate, U.S. Senate. Lou is Lou's working hard to take his message out that Bob Casey needs to go. We need to make Pat Toomey the senior United States Senator. The margins in the U.S. Senate being so slim, it's really important that we deliver a big victory for Lou Barletta. If Lou Barletta had been in the U.S. Senate, Obamacare would have been repealed last year. It's that close, that one vote. So we could send Lou Barletta to the United States Senate, said Bob Casey, who's become a rank-and-file member of the Nancy Pelosi, Elizabeth Warren wing of the progressive wing of the Democrat Party. We need to send him packing. So you get out there this week, get a big win for Lou Barletta. And this year, we can not only increase our margins in the United States Senate, we can also fight this supposed blue wave that's come. We've seen the generic ballot this year because of the good work of our president. And President Trump is doing an amazing job for this country and putting America first. Finally, a president who's putting American workers and American we've seen the generic ballot, which is will you vote for a Republican or Democrat for Congress this year. We've seen that go from double digits Democrat to now, as CNN reported last week, it's basically tied. And that's because they've seen the work of the Republican Party in cutting taxes, cutting regulations, and a president who puts America first in foreign policy. You're seeing that in North Korea, you're seeing that in the Mideast, you're seeing that around the world. So we need to grab onto that agenda and run with it big time this year, and send Lou Bartlett to the United States Senate. We've also endorsed a great candidate for governor and for lieutenant governor. We've met one of them already, Jeff Bartos. I want to speak a little bit about the endorsement before I introduce Scott. The endorsement is a very grassroots, bottom-up process in Pennsylvania, where our candidates go to every corner of the state and get their message out, why they should be the standard bearer for the Republican Party. When I ran for state chairman, one thing I insisted on, that if I became chairman, it would be a grassroots decision. There wouldn't be no party bosses from the top telling everybody how to vote. It would be a grassroots decision, A, whether we would endorse, and B, who we would endorse. It's two separate votes we have at state committee. And I can tell you, we let that process play out as much as possible by the 350 plus elected state committee members, including your state committees from this county. And in that process, one person won overwhelmingly. Well, actually two people won overwhelmingly. One of them is our candidate for governor who's here today. And over the last several months, I've spent a lot of time with Scott Wagner. And you ask Scott what his vision is for Pennsylvania, and you'll get 15, 20 minutes of ideas you never thought about, things that are outside the box. And Scott knows what we all know in our hearts, that Harrisburg is broken. A governor who now has let 3 budgets pass without his signature. Tom Wolf has gone from being America's most liberal governor, as he was called by the Huffington Post, when he wanted to raise taxes on everything from daycare to funeral services and everything in between. The largest tax increase in Pennsylvania history is what he proposed, and only a Republican legislature stopped that from becoming law. The year after that, becoming America's angriest governor when he shut down our government and vetoed vital continuing resolutions to fund social services. The last year being America's absentee governor, when he literally wasn't there when we were trying to negotiate a budget, and let another budget pass into law without his signature. Pennsylvania needs real leadership, and Scott Wagner knows that Harrisburg is broken. And we need a leader like him, someone who's been a small businessman, who built a business out of nothing, someone who understands the financial market, someone who understands that our education system is failing our children and has ideas for how to reform that. Someone understands about workforce training, how important that is, and that ultimately it's about creating jobs and opportunity for this Commonwealth. So we're thrilled to have as our endorsed candidate, Scott Wagner. We're expecting a big, big win for him on Tuesday. We need your help in Bucks County. Pat, if anybody can do it, Bucks County GOP can do it. And we're going to get a big win for Scott and Jeff. And now I have the distinct honor of introducing the next governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Scott Wagner.
We're going to have a little fun for a minute, if you would indulge me. Can we do the live? We're going to do a Facebook Live. Now, what I want you to do is scan the room. Can you do that? Okay. Jeff, come on up here. Pat, come on up here. Val. Go, come on up here. Tell me when we're live. This is, but I'm going to ask you to scan the room. Okay. Hey, listen, folks. It's Saturday morning. We're down here in Northampton Township in Bucks County, and we're at a rally. And everybody's energized. We're getting ready for Tuesday. It's only 3 days away. We've got our committee, our county chairman down here, Pat, Vice Chair Joe. We've got Lieutenant Governor Jeff Bartos, our state chairman, Val DiGiorgio. We're all here, and there's a lot of energy in the room. And I'm excited about Tuesday. I'm excited about what can happen in Pennsylvania when Jeff and I hit the Lieutenant Governor's office and the Governor's office. So Ryan, if you want to pan the room here, just show everybody out there what's going on down here in Northampton Township. We're going to go offline. We're going to go back to our rally. But listen, Wednesday morning is going to be a great morning for me. I'm going to sleep in until probably 6:30 or 7. But at the end of the day, listen, I see the energy as I travel around Pennsylvania. Jeff sees it. We go to Potter County, Tioga County, Clearfield. We're down here today. We see people leaving with yard signs. And people that believe in us, that are going to go out on Tuesday morning, they're going to get up early, they're going to go out and put up yard signs at the polls, and they're going to work the polls. And we're honored. I am humbled and honored, and trust me, I will not let you down. And I know Jeff Bartos, alongside of me as Lieutenant Governor, we're going to do a lot of great things in Pennsylvania. So that's great.
If you leave here today and you say it was a great breakfast, you loved hearing the speeches and all, that's fine. But that's not what we need. We need your help today. We have people right over here. They're going to have booklets. We're going to ask you to make some phone calls. You have friends. I know you all do. Call them. Get them out for Wendy. This is Wendy's election. Keep saying that. You have to vote for her twice as nice. 2 times you have to vote for Wendy. We need you. Remember, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke said that, and I love that line. Amen. Amen. We're good men. Thank you.